Hello, I'm Dr. Kenneth Goldberg, and I'm the author of The Homework Trap: How to Save the Sanity of Parents, Students, and Teachers. In today's comment, I'd like to refer to two articles that I've come across. One of them is in today's Washington Post education blog, and that has to do with teacher retention, and that we can't fire our way into having good teachers. And the other one is in yesterday's New York Times, and it has to do with school suspensions, and it highlights the persecutory nature of our school suspension policies, with minority children getting suspended far more than other children, and special education students, children with special needs, getting suspended far more than other children. And I think there's a common theme that goes through these two articles and into the issue of homework policy as well. If you look at the consequences that are used for homework, they are simply high when you compare them to the amount of work that presumably needs to be done. Children get zeros, which are super F, compared to 60%, which is a failing grade, 2.5 times the negative weight. Homework may get factored in up to 25%, yet the homework presumably should take 8% of their time, 10% of their time, when homework time is added to the time that's in the full school day. So what you basically have is a situation of excessive coercive punishments trying to get people in line. And generally those punishments are not really aimed at the kids as much as they're aimed at the parents, at least prior to the high school level, that it is the parents that get mobilized by their concerns and fears for the welfare of their children. So it mobilizes parents into directions in which they end up trying to act over things they have little control over. There are reasons why their children cannot do the homework, and yet these coercive efforts to push parents into that corner do nothing more but reduce their authority and put them in a position where they can't use their own judgment. And I think that there are just similarities that have to do with human behavior. Teachers are people. Teachers are people who chose to enter the profession. They vie for spots in schools of teaching. And the ones with presumably the strongest credentials, the ones that make the best case for themselves, get in. And the people are plumbers. People vie for spots as plumbers. I'm a psychologist. When I applied for schools of psychology, I had to make my case. And interestingly, I probably at the point I made those decisions, I was a better mathematician than I was a psychologist. When I went to apply for graduate schools in mathematics, I got into practically every school that I applied for. When I applied for schools of psychology, I was competing against a lot of people, and I got into some places, but I didn't get into a lot of other places. But in the end, I became a trained psychologist, just as I might have been a doctoral level mathematician. I could never have been a plumber. I would have definitely been at the bottom of the class on that. And then I'm as good as I am. And if I'm really bad or unethical or do something terrible, then I may not be able to work. Maybe the licensing board will take my license away. But by and large, we have a society that functions because people do jobs and people take roles and they do it the best they can. Parents are parents and they don't have to be perfect. And occasionally there are some people that are so awful in that role that society comes in and removes their children. But by and large, we function in all sorts of capacities, being who we are and doing the best we can. Whether it's a teacher who may not be, the world's greatest teacher, but is a good teacher, or a student who may have circumstances that affect his behavior, but he's not really, the type of kid that's disrupting the class to the point that he needs to be removed or targeted, or a parent who is a good parent but does, and doesn't need to have his or her judgment supplanted by that of an external authority, and that's exactly what happens with the homework system. And so I recommend these articles, the articles in the Washington Post and the New York Times, and to think about them in the context of human behavior, the way things work, how people function, how our society needs to support ordinary people, average people, in doing the best they can, and not act as if coercive measures are going to bring people in line and improve our overall society and our overall quality of life. Thank you.